What's going on, everybody? Today, what I want to talk about is how to stop caring so much what other people think. And the key word here is so much, because I don't ever think that we could really ever stop caring all the way about what other people think, unless, of course, you're a psychopath, maybe. But I was having a conversation a few days ago with a friend, and she was telling me that she was doing her best. What she was doing was she was trying to build her own little brand on social media. And she started doing it on her personal account. And she was posting about her expertise on social media. And what happened was some of her friends, her lifelong friends she went to high school with, they started to tease her. And they were teasing her so much that she actually decided to start a new social media account, someplace brand new where nobody who knows her will actually see what she posts. But now, what she was telling me is she's kind of afraid that they'll eventually find her post and continue to tease her. And she was asking for advice. And when people usually ask for this type of advice, because I've seen it on social media, people will say, those aren't your real friends. And I'm here to say that's not exactly true, because they are her real friends. It's just that they're used to you being a certain way, particularly when you post on social media, that whenever you try something new, it's very unfamiliar to their brains that it threatens them. And it doesn't threaten them in a way that it's just something they're not used to. So of course, if you start trying something new, like I'm sure like if I started doing videos with my hair down all the time, if you're used to me posting with my hair in the bun, somebody's gonna mention it. Somebody might tease me about it. If you're used to me having a, nasty mustache or a messy mustache, which I have now, and I start shaving myself and I start cleaning myself up, you're gonna notice the difference. You're gonna notice you have a particular pattern of the way you think I am, and when I start to shift it, it's gonna cause like, whoa, that's not something I'm used to. So I would never say that those people aren't her real friends, because people will say, oh, they're supposed to support you no matter what. If they were your real friends, they would support you. No, that's not how the brain works. The brain is used to patterns. And when you start to deviate from a certain pattern, it's gonna be brought up. It's a little weird, it's a little awkward. Like for instance, if I'm walking down the street, particularly in New York, it's not very, 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 very common for somebody to say hello to me. In New York City, there's so many people. If I ever saw somebody stop me and say hello, hey, how you doing? It would be a little weird, because in New York City, I'm used to just, everybody just minds their business. And it's gonna feel a little weird, it's gonna feel a little awkward. So it's the same thing here. When she starts posting on social media, her expertise and her friends are starting to tease her. That doesn't mean they aren't her real friends. They're just used to you being in a particular way. And anytime you deviate from it, they're gonna mention it, or they're gonna notice it, or they're gonna look a little weird. So I would never say that these other women are not her friends, particularly if she grew up with them this whole time and they've had hard times and rough times and they've taken care of her before. So, but her question is why does she care so much? And my answer is, and I'm gonna answer it for you because maybe you guys are going through the exact same thing where you wanna try something new, but you care just a little bit too much about what other people think. My answer is, why do we care so much? Is because we're wired to. What does that mean? There's a part of our brain, and what I'm about to go over is very surface level. I only understand it at a surface level, particularly when it comes to the nervous system and the brain. But there's a part of our brain called the reptilian part of our brain, which is basically the lowest part of our brain. It's our instinctive brain, it's our survival brain. And this brain is very, very ancient. How far back does it go? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago. This is the part of the brain that we use primarily back in the day, hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we relied on being in tribes. When we relied on hunting together, working together, building together, traveling together. It mattered back in the day, hundreds of thousands of years ago, what other people thought about us. Because hundreds of thousands of years ago, and there's been debates on this. I remember I talked about this before, and somebody was like, I don't believe in that theory, but just stick with me here. Because this is what I've experienced as far as paying attention to people the last, let's say, 14 years. There's a part of our brain that relies on other people, and it cares so much because it believes if it deviates from the tribe, if somebody doesn't like me or doesn't approve of what I do, that means death. Meaning hundreds of thousands of years ago, if you messed up, if you deviated from what they're used to, tribesmen and women would kill you. Now, if you think about this logically, this explains why something like public speaking is one of the top fears on the planet. I think they say it's like number 2 behind death. Like, most people just can't publicly speak. Why? Logically, it makes no sense. You're just gonna get up there, you're gonna talk, you're not gonna get killed, nobody's going to attack you. However, the reptilian part of your brain, from hundreds of thousands of years ago, it mattered. If you got up there and did like a speech or did something that looked stupid, people would disown you, people would dislike you, and people could either cast you out of the tribe, which means you're gonna survive on your own, which back in the day, that wasn't possible because we had lions, tigers, bears, other tribesmen. You would get killed. So, when you're afraid of something like public speaking, the reptilian part of your brain actually believes you're gonna get killed. So, for her, when she goes and posts, and now she's afraid that her new channel might actually get found, and she cares, and it actually bothers her a bit, and she's actually upset with herself that if her friends find her new page, that they're gonna start making fun of her again, or teasing her, or just saying something. Realize that that's what's supposed to happen. Your reptilian part of your brain is just trying to protect you because, to be honest, the reptilian part of your brain is dumb. It still believes it's hundreds of thousands of years ago. The reptilian part of your brain still believes that food is scarce, meaning calories are hard to come by. And it's doing everything it can to survive. So the reptilian part of your brain is just trying to protect you. Now she's battling with it to try and make her post. But at the same time, she's in conflict because she's upset because, like, why do I care so much? And the answer is, and for you guys, the answer is you're wired to care unless you're some type of psychopath, because we're always going to care a little bit. So what can she do? So what I told her is that, first of all, allow the feeling to be there. It's okay. Like, when you start to care what other people think, particularly your friends, my question to her is, how do you know? You're gonna notice the feeling or sensation in your physiology. That's the first thing you're gonna become aware of. Now, most people don't become aware of that. If she could become aware of that, this is her chance to practice releasing that feeling. Because most people don't notice the actual feeling and sensation that it creates in the body. They notice the thoughts. The thoughts start getting really, really crazy. She starts thinking, and then she's battling with her brain, she's battling with her mind, and then she's starting to get mad at herself, like, why the hell do I care? First thing she's got to do, I told her, is you need to accept it. This is what's kind of supposed to happen. Because again, our reptilian part of our brain is still living 100,000 years ago. It still believes we need other people to survive. We need people to like us. This is why people virtue signal. This is why people get into groups. that part of our brain is so tribal. It's like, it's kind of like, and a lot of us, I would say 99% of us, we still live in that part of our brain primarily. Like, it's amazing to me today, like, it's not really amazing no more, but I'm always in awe how many people I talk to that never had an original thought. They're just stuck. Basically, what they're stuck with is their thoughts are basically comments that they've read on other social media posts. Like, it's weird how, I live in New York, but the part of New York I live in is in Staten Island. So I live in a very, let's talk politics here. I live in a Democratic state, but the borough I live in is primarily Republican. And it's amazing to me how once I know one political view that you mention or you say something, I literally know everything about you politically. It's like there's no nuance in thought. Like it's rare that I find somebody that, might agree with abortion to some term, but also likes the Second Amendment. Like it's rare that I find somebody that actually is like, I have a little bit of views that are liberal, a little bit of views that are conservative. For the most part, every time I meet somebody, I already know, like if I hear one little thing they say, I could like pinpoint it. And usually I'll find out that that's true. Like I'm like, oh wow. Like because they've never actually thought about it themselves. Because again, the reason why people don't think is because thinking actually consumes calories. It expends calories. And remember, the reptilian part of your brain still believes calories are scarce. It's been proven that when you think really hard, like chess players, when they play chess, it's been seen something like they could burn like up to 6,000 calories over the course of a day just focusing on chess. So to actually sit down and concentrate expends calories. So the reptilian part of your brain is going to prevent you from thinking because it says, hey, thinking is calorically expensive and we don't know when's the next time we're going to eat because it still believes that we're going out hunting for food. Back, I think 100,000 years ago, we used to eat every like 2 to 3 days. So we had to like conserve calories. So with her, what I was trying to explain to her is you need to accept it. It's okay that you are wired to care about what other people think, unless, of course, you're a psychopath. So what do is you notice the feeling or sensation come up. So for her, what she was explaining to me is like when she goes to post or when she thinks about it, she starts to feel a fuzziness, like a funniness in her chest. And what I told her is, I asked her, well, what do you do when the funniness comes up in your chest, when your heart starts to race? She starts to shame herself. She starts to use her thoughts and she says, this is stupid. Why are you always like this? I said, look, once you notice the fuzziness start to come up in your chest, the sensation, because it's cool now, because before she didn't really recognize the funniness in her chest. She just noticed the thoughts. So what you got to realize is that a sensation or a feeling is going to come up in the body when you start to do things that you believe you're going to start caring about what other people think. Like for instance, when I make videos like this, particularly like today I made a video for YouTube at a park where it was really, really crowded. When I put the camera on and I'm talking really, really loud, there's people walking by behind the camera. I could feel that I care. And in that moment, as I'm talking, all I'm doing is mentally saying, it's okay, relax. How do I know I'm tense? How do I know that I care? I start to feel it in my neck. And all I do, and what's cool is I was doing a stretching routine. So the fact that I felt it in my neck, like I actually did like a neck stretch in the video. So that was pretty cool. But when you start to feel the feeling for her, the funniness in her chest, I say, accept it, allow it to be there. Stop fighting with it. It's okay. We're wired to care. Our reptilian part of our brain believes that if we go outside what people expect of us, we will be killed. So be okay with this. But what you do is you accept it. And guess what? When you accept it, I always say this, when you start accepting this stuff, it's painful. It hurts. Don't try to do something with your brain, but you don't gotta say, fuck them. The hell with them. They're not my friends. Because that's what most people teach on social media, because it sounds cool. Oh, if they don't support you, they're not your real friends. Or if they make fun of you, they're not your real friends. It's just different. It's just a different pattern. Like I said, if I start making videos with my hair down, or if I start, let's say I started, this channel is not about politics, but let's say I started just primarily talking about politics, you're gonna kind of get like, whoa, what's going on? Lou doesn't usually talk about politics. Or Lou doesn't usually talk, let's say if I start saying you guys should be taking medication, and it's the best thing since sliced bread, and this drug, and this and that, or this supplement, if you're not used to that, you're gonna look at me a little weird. It's not that you don't support me, it's not that you don't support what I do, but it's a little different. It's like when I started doing these talking videos, these long 20-minute talking videos, particularly for Instagram, that's not common. So you're probably like, whoa. And then when people start hearing me talk, they're like, wow, he sounds like that. It's unnatural. Like, it's funny because majority of my friends are black. So I tend to take some of their mannerisms when I speak. And my girlfriend's black. And when people hear me speak, they don't expect it. So they give me a little bit of a weird look when they hear, or if you ever see me with my girlfriend, when I'm walking through the city with my girlfriend, because she is black, it's not typical that you see an Asian guy with a black girl. And because it's not typical, that doesn't mean people are disapproving, but they're curious. Like, is he like her best friend? Is he actually with her? And she's beautiful, by the way. Very, very gorgeous. My girlfriend is gorgeous. So typically, when people see a I'm 5'8", pale, and I'm not handsome, I'm footsome. When they see somebody like me with her, who's very, very beautiful, it's uncommon. It's not something you usually see, but it's the same thing with your friends and family. If you start acting differently, or you start doing something that deviates from what they expect of you, there's gonna be a little bit of tension. There's gonna be a little bit of conflict. That's okay. That doesn't mean they're not your friends. Now, most people will say, oh, no, they're not your real friends. Now, if they're purposely trying to bring you down, like bash you on a conscious level, then fine, they're not your friends. But for her, or for you, who probably cares, and remember, we're wired to, remember the reptilian part of our brain, I'm gonna keep saying it, the reptilian part of our brain is wired to care, because it still believes it's 100,000 years ago. It still believes we depend on the tribe. It still believes that calories are scarce. It still believes that we can't survive on our own. So, all she has to do is accept the feeling. And it's painful. It hurts. But you don't have to do anything with your mind. You just got to feel into the feeling. And as you do, you'll notice, this is beautiful about what I teach. It'll start to flow. It'll start to move. And eventually, guess what happens? The same thing that happened to me today when I was making the video in front of all the people and they're walking by and people are kind of curious, like, what is this guy doing? It's going to pass. It's going to pass. In a way, I think they call it in therapy like desensitization therapy or exposure therapy. The more you expose yourself to this and feel into the feeling, and don't fight with it. Don't say, I have to do this. Fuck everybody else. You don't gotta do that. And I know that's what's taught on social media because it's like very clickbaity and it sounds cool. And what I talk about is like very gentle and it's small. But this is what you do. When you feel the feeling, understand you're supposed to feel that way. It's okay that you care. But you get to choose and respond what you actually get to do. So for her, she says she's going to practice it. I hope she does. But for you guys, the same thing. When you start to feel the feelings of caring, it's okay. You're wired to care. Accept the feeling, watch the feeling, and know it's going to pass. Just like with me today when I made the YouTube video, the feeling, once I got into rhythm, once I was about 4 minutes into the video, I didn't even notice the people no more. And even if people were like to stop and look at me, I was already in rhythm because the feeling already passed on through. So please, give this a try. I just heard something and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully I'm safe. But please, I hope you got value from this. As always, I hope it made sense. And leave any feedback in the comments. Peace.